Hello everyone, welcome to Doc's Custom Corner. Tonight I've got a couple of my Harley projects out on the table. I've had the green one, I call this Dr. Feelgood. I've had that one in my intro video, so I'm sure you've probably seen it there by now. Both these bikes were built using the Cherry Bomb, the Monogram Cherry Bomb frame and engine setup. The one on the right, what I did is I took the pot belly gas tank out of them, and I'll pull this one apart here, but I took the pot belly gas tank out of them and put a piece of tubing in place of it, and then I ended up casting the frames. This frame and the engine is a cast piece that I cast years ago. Tires and wheels are out of like a crotch rocket type bike, like a Yamaha Suzuki. I forget what kit they even came out of. I got the boxes out in the garage, along with the brake rotors and the chain drive and everything. These will end up going on there somehow, some way. Or I had the photo etched set out of the, I think the old Jade Grenade resin kit that I think Jimmy Flintstone put out years ago. I may try using these on there versus the plastic pieces. And just a couple other sets of wheels here. Like I say, I forget what kit they came off of. I'll have to grab the box out of the garage sometime and post the pictures up. But the frame here, I ended up doing is I took the top tube and put the top tube in it in place of the potbelly gas tank, cast them out, and then built them from there. That way they look more like a real bike. The front forks on this are all scratch built out of using evergreen tubing, and then this is plastic tubing over a metal rod just to stiffen it up and give it some support. Right now I've got a head pin or a shirt pin, whatever you want to call it, down through the fork, just holding everything together. Top trees these are just pieces of sheet plastic. Engine's not really sitting in there the way it should, but there we go. Then the fuel tank on both of these, this one and this one, they're pieces of balsa wood that I just carved out, got the shape that I wanted, cut the trough down through the bottom down through the bottom where it would fit over the frame, much like they would be on a real bike. Cut it just to shape and play around with it till I got it fit right. Seat, I'm not sure what this came off of. I don't know if this came off of the Cherry Bomb kit or if it's off of an older Triumph, I think. I'm not sure, but I got a single lunger engine over here that I was going to put into a custom bike of another kind. But that's that one. This is the handlebars. Again, out of that same metal rod with the wire or the plastic over the wire. These will be cut back, shortened up on the back side. They won't be sticking out as long, but I wanted them long just so I got the idea where I wanted them to sit as far as length on the bike and whatnot. They'll be shortened up probably half the length of what they are at least, if not more. And then all those spare tire covers that you see on the old Model A's, the 32 Ford Victorias. This would be on the back of the car, hanging above the rear bumper with a smooth cover on it. Or the ones that you find on like a Chevy van or a Jeep or anything like that. For those of you that don't know, on a motorcycle with these custom bikes, this outer wrap, this part here, work really nice for fenders. This piece would be cut and you can slip it down over the back tire. You'd cut all the excess out of here, smooth out the inside, get rid of the mold marks or the mold lugs here. But that would be your rear fender. And then this one would be the front fender. Cut and shortened up, hung between the parallels of the forks. Now on this other bike, It's the same frame, same engine. It's still the Cherry Bomb bike. Cherry Bomb forks, the handlebars have been cut. You know, the ape hanger bars that used to come up, I cut them down, shortened them up, brought them down in height. This bike took me almost 6 months of build time to build. Now that I look at this is the seat that came out of the Cherry Bomb. So this is something out of something else there. But this one, along with the photo etch frame or the photo etch brake parts, this one has all the photo etch on it. The photo etch rotor chain. Here you can see that I got a piece of brass for a kickstand. All the forward controls, brake controls, all this stuff are all scratch built out of pieces of brass tubing, brass rod, evergreen plastic. Your shifter rod here that goes between the shifter and the forward control. That's actually my son Brian, who you've probably seen him comment on here. Let me try to get that to focus in a little bit better. My son Brian plays drums and plays guitar, so he had a bunch of guitar string laying around one day, so I snipped a little piece of guitar string off. The rod going back between these two here is a piece of his guitar string. I made the coil box, plug wires coming up. That's all been wired, added in. Try to hold it here without breaking the thing. It's got your clutch cable, then all your brake lines all coming down. Your throttle cable. This is your clutch cable coming down, going to your clutch here. This is the throttle cable coming down, going snaking through, coming out the other side to the throttle linkage on the carburetor. Another shot of this side's forward controls. Exhaust is all, I think the main part of the exhaust back to here is all pieces of the Cherry Bomb, and then the back half has been modified. The tail light is also sheet plastic cut and whittled down, shaped to fit, along with the rear lens that's on there. And how well you can see the brake caliper in here. The brake caliper is all scratch built out of sheet plastic and little pieces of brass. Rear axle going through the rear hub is a piece of brass. The fuel tank on this is also a piece of balsa wood, clear coated and then shot in the same green that the bike shot in. Rear fender is actually part of the Cherry Bomb bike. It's actually two rear fenders off the Cherry Bomb butted together and swept back a little bit more along with the fronts. Let's see here. The brake rotors are also photo etched. Brake calipers and mounts, they're all scratch built out of pieces of sheet plastic drilled. Then it has your front, knocking stuff on the floor here. Has your front brake lines coming down into a T, and then goes down into each individual caliper on each side. Oil filter on the bottom. And the license plate. Whoa. License plate's a piece of photo etch plate with a license plate out of a magazine. Actually cut out of a picture of a magazine off of another motorcycle. Just knocked the motor and everything loose on it. Then it's got your speedometer on here as well, and then a single headlight just up front. Long story short on this one, I had it sitting kind of rough together, sitting kind of in primer, or half primer, sitting on the display board at one of my car shows that I went to years ago, and some guy or gentleman that was there picked it up to look at it. He picked it up by the display board and just teetered off and fell and hit the table, and the frame, gas tank, fenders, everything blew apart about 5-6 different pieces. But he was really freaking out over the fact that he dropped it. I told him, I said, don't worry about it, dude. This is it happens. As I dropped one of my models years ago at the Nemo show in Crystal Lake, and it obliterated the body into about 21 pieces, and I glued it back together again. I said, you see that car over there? I did the same thing to that 2 years ago, and it's done, looking good now. I said, this bike will be the same way. But the guy felt bad, but I told him, I said, don't worry about it, dude, it happens. I said, I drop this stuff all the time, so. But that's that. That's, like I said, it took me about 6 months to build. This thing's been on and going about 5 years now, I think. Maybe even longer. But I wanted to build a couple bikes years ago and started messing around with them, playing around with the ideas of it. And this is kind of what I came up with so far. I've also got a larger scale motorcycle that I'll bring out in another video. But yeah, that's about it. One other thing I did to it too is I run the forward tree, or the triple tree, whatever you want to call it. I actually added another piece of sheet plastic to the top and bottom to give it a little bit more forward rake on it. That way it put the front end more of a chopper look to it. And these two blue lines coming down are the fuel lines coming down out of the fuel tank. It's oil cooler. Like I said, it took me about 6 months to build it. I was kind of happy with the way it turned out for being something small and tedious, something I'm not usually used to working with. Getting to the point where anymore my hands are getting kind of tricky to hold on to stuff anymore, but we're making the do with it. But that's it for the night. Thanks for watching. Hopefully tomorrow night I'll be putting together another video. I'm not sure what I'll be putting together tomorrow night, what I'll pull out. Kind of debating between a couple of trucks and maybe, or possibly maybe a couple customs or something. Not 100% sure yet, but we'll figure it out. Maybe I'll surprise you tomorrow night and maybe throw a monkey wrench into it and come out with something totally different. Who knows? But with that in mind, we'll cut you all loose. Hope you all are having a good night, staying warm wherever you are. I know it's starting to warm up here a little bit, which is good, and I'm thankful for that. Don't like the cold weather too much anymore, but you know how that is. Kind of stinks to be in the Midwest, I guess, if that's the case. But anyway, we'll cut you all loose, and we'll see you down on the corner. Y'all take care and have a good one. Bye-bye.